Judge's ruling is in and there's no uncertain terms. Either Nathan Wade stays or the case is over. Let's go ahead and get into the ramifications of Judge McAfee's decision on whether or not to disqualify Fani Willis from the prosecution of the Georgia elections interference case. This is Antoine Anderson. You are watching the Ujamaa Network. Let's get into it. From the onset, the motion to dismiss Fani Willis over these salacious allegations was fatally flawed. It was needed to be proven that what she was paying Wade came back to her in some form of remuneration, that she was going to benefit from the amounts of money that Nathan Wade was being paid prior to this case even taking off. That didn't make the cut in Judge McAfee's ruling. It simply didn't amount to what was being said. Now, he didn't let Fani Willis off the hook entirely. He admonished her because now, even though he felt that it didn't rise to that, he's clearly stated that it could be viewed as that. You had made the decision to date this married man, married in the sense that he was still married while they were dating. The divorce was filed but not concluded. And this man's divorce became the fodder for this now 2-month delay in a seeking of justice against someone who was implicated in interfering with our election process here in the state. That was enough. Now, earlier videos I posted out said as much. There just was too much of a distraction here. We're talking about things that we should not need to know, things that were in a closed divorce hearing. There was a hearing in Cobb County just to unseal this sealed divorce. Then the information that came out of the divorce. Where did we get this money? Where did they go? What kind of trips were they looking for? It was a fishing expedition, a 2-month-long fishing expedition, which is going to basically end up with Fani Willis prosecuting this case continually and Nathan Wade withdrawing. That was the choice given to him today. It is going to be interesting. As I said yesterday, judging from what the DA has gone through with these allegations, you can expect no safe harbor for the remaining defendants who didn't take plea deals early on. I think as a new lead attorney will be installed, or maybe a reshuffling of the deck, either Attorney Cross or Attorney Floyd, seeing as how Attorney Floyd is the most expert on RICO law in the country, let alone the complicated nature of RICO laws in the state. I think he was going to be the guy from the beginning. The track record that he has and that of DA when it comes to RICO investigations is pretty impressive. They have over a 90-something% conviction rate. This case is going forward. Despite the fact that Judge McAfee had already ruled that 6 of the charges that Donald Trump were facing himself were going to be either thrown out or have to be resubmitted. These were grand jury indictments. These weren't charges that came out of thin air or came out of the imagination of the district attorney's office. There were jury hearings on whether or not any of the things that went on that phone call constituted a legal breach by the president. And clearly it did. And what's going to end up happening now is we're going to refocus the case. But what is working against all of this is the backdrop of the presidential election that's happening in less than 8 months. We're looking at a November election date. The earliest DA Willis was trying to get this case off the ground was in August. That, in addition to all of Trump's other criminal cases. Jack Smith up in D.C., Attorney Bragg in New York, the Florida case, the conviction in the Eugene Carroll case, the finding in the Letitia James case, where Trump Industries and his family is now having to go through forfeiture of some of their properties to pay these judgments that were levied against them. This is a hot mess. And what this Georgia case did was buy Trump some time. He needed some time to handle all these cases. Now, whether or not you feel that this is prosecutorial malfeasance on any of these now 3 or 4 states and the federal government, you have to ask yourself, is this something that you can get behind when it comes to just the nature and the breadth of how many cases a presidential candidate is facing? It's not doing any of us any favors to have a popular president who is under investigation and actually being found guilty of some of the cases, or found liable, as in the case with Judge Goron's case. What do we do with that? We're not talking about the issues. We're not talking about bread and butter issues. We're not talking about our economy. We're talking about keeping someone out of a jail cell based on popularity. And I don't think that can rise to the occasion. Also, in terms of this case, Nathan Wade was an albatross around the neck of this case, if you will. The personal issues that were brought in, and then the mess that was brought in by his partner, Terrence Bradley, just the messiness of his friend sitting on the other side of the prosecution in the form of Ashley Merchant, her presence at his own judicial campaign for Nathan Wade to become a judge. The Letitia James case, where Ashley campaigning for this individual, it shows just how nasty this thing got. I mean, you got literal friends who are now divided because of what has gone down in this case, but it is over for now. Is there a possibility that charges like this can come up in the future? You never know. But what you do have now is a choice that Fani Willis is going to have to make. And I don't think it's going to be that hard of a choice. Either we've wasted the millions of dollars we've already spent in this investigation, or we continue on. And it's just that simple. Think about all the man hours that every page, clerk, attorney has put in, not only drafting these charges, but going through all these motions to this point. We're talking about 2 years now since the indictment came down. And now we're looking at, possibly another year before this thing is actually concluded. It's a mess. Well, you're going to let me know what you think about it yourselves. My name is Antoine Anderson. Once again, leave your comments below. We have hit our monetization goal. Thank you for all of my subscribers. Thank you for dealing with the somewhat changing content, how we are still focusing on investing within the community, getting this segment of the economy going on full steam, to make sure the entire country does better. It does not serve this country if an entire segment of the population is left disadvantaged and they can't or won't get on their own feet for whatever reason. We have to make sure that this segment of the population is able to contribute to not only their own good, but to the good of this country. Again, leave your comments and your suggestions and you can kind of keep those to yourself. But leave your comments about this case here. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.